Hi everyone, welcome to Working with Your Gifts. Now this is a short introduction that is going to describe what these readings are meant to illuminate for you. If you don't want to listen to it, you can skip right to the reading by clicking in the timestamp below. So for anyone who is new, welcome. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. Now, what does meaning-based spiritual coaching services mean? That means that I utilize the principles of logotherapy, which is a school of psychoanalysis thought that focuses on illuminating you as an individual. What makes you different? What makes your experience of life different so that you can find your own meaning within your life. But first, you have to be aware of yourself and what makes you unique. And the second step is being able to connect that unique self with your external environment to understand where these unique parts of yourself fit into the greater collective human experience. So this reading specifically is the first baby step to getting you to become self-aware of innate gifts that are unique to you. Now, since these are general readings, these are going to focus on the broader overview of looking at your astrological sign, which is going to be in one of your three main house placements in your birth chart, which is either your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. Now, you can look at all three of these. I do recommend watching a video for each of those because each one focuses on something slightly different. So when we're looking at your sun sign. Your sun sign tends to focus more on illuminating aspects of yourself, gifts to tap into that pertain specifically to your spiritual experience. When I say spiritual, I mean more of like your grand overarching purpose, that feeling inside of you, that those innate instinctual drives to enact a vision for the world that you emotionally connect to. For your rising sign, when you look at the sign associated with your rising sign, this is more about how you are perceived by others in the world. And I've heard some say it's kind of like the role you're meant to play. So if you're looking at this as being an actor in a play, this is where you get to step onto stage and how others view you in your role. And this is an important aspect because oftentimes we're so focused on our sun sign placements that we don't realize that there's an element of how others see us, and that the sign placement that is associated with our rising sign has to do more with our physical experience of life, how others perceive us in our physical world, and how we in turn actually act and interact on a physical level with our experience. And then we have our moon sign placements. Now, moon sign placements I feel are incredibly important to be aware of because this is where we tie directly into our emotional core. It's where we actually also act kind of from a place of our instinct. It's where we act from a subconscious place. So this can be important because in understanding the unique gifts and the unique attributes to the sign that is in your moon placement, you can gain a broader understanding of where you can find emotional fulfillment and perhaps where you're blocking yourself off from emotional fulfillment. So I do find that moon sign placement can be very important. It's also where you can start to see and become aware of where you act instinctually. So when pushed by your external environment, what's your first instinct to act? Your first instinct to emotionally connect with that either event or situation or person. And so it can actually provide a lot of insight into perhaps areas where you need to grow a little bit in an emotional sense. You know, if your first instinct is always to burst into tears or to get extremely angry, that's where we can start to understand, okay, this is why we're emotionally blocked from feelings of happiness and fulfillment, because we are not expressing the gifts that lie within our kind of subconscious instinctual level of reaction, and where we've blocked ourselves off from actually growing this part of ourselves, from evolving from almost more of like a childlike blah throw a tantrum type tendency to really fine-tuning this and utilizing this emotional connection to heighten and really allow for your emotional responses to be impactful both to others and to yourself. So that's kind of an overview of what we're going to be looking at here. What we're going to be diving into in each one of these readings is to take a look at what are the key gifts for the sign. And I look at the gifts for the sign meaning you are born with a specific birth chart, which is unique to you. No other person will have the same birth chart as you. It is your fingerprint that separates you from all others. And so as part of this blueprint that you have, there are layers to this. So there's the first layer of more of a general overview of kind of what divinely you are given as your broad goal and role to fill in the greater collective. Meaning, let's have an example. Let's say you were born as a Taurus. Now, Taurus is a sign of stability. It's an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So you're working with the gifts of stability. In addition to that, there's working with the gifts of creating structure, working with the gifts of working with your tangible environment. And these are things that are meant to be utilized by you in your day-to-day to not only help you feel connected to an innate part of yourself, but also to help fill a role in the greater collective experience. So not everybody is born with Taurus in one of their 3 main house placements. But if you are, then you're meant to be an example to others or to fill roles that the other signs cannot, so that you really fill in the gaps and keep the balance going between everybody and all of their unique gifts. So the more that you start to become aware of your unique gifts and you start to tap into them on a high level, then you can start to break it down and go deeper into a very personal and singular individual level, where you start to then uncover your own unique abilities and gifts that don't tie directly back to your sign placements. Instead, they tie back to you as the individual. And that's where getting a personal reading would help uncover that aspect of yourself. But we get to be aware in stages. So it isn't about when you're starting this road to uncovering who you are, so that you can start to answer fully your own I am question. And when I talk about what is the I am question, it's if somebody right now was to walk up to you and say, announce to the world, step on stage and tell people about yourself. Who are you? And you would start by stepping up and saying, I am. And how would you answer that question? Now, a lot of us might have certain things that we could, say right off the bat. I am a mother. I'm a construction worker. I am fill in the blank. But where we go a little deeper is this is here to answer the larger, deeper I am question. Who are you at your core, and what is your purpose and place in this world? And I think most of us are, at some point in our lives, we come to this existential crisis of trying to figure that out, of do I matter? Does my life hold meaning? Where do I find meaning in life for myself? And that first step is becoming self-aware. And it happens in layers. We don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to be self-aware today. It's finding a starting place that works for you that starts to unlock that connection again between yourself and your uniqueness and your external environment. So it's baby steps. As an example for this would be like you saying, okay, I realize I'm not feeling happy and emotionally fulfilled in my life. So I am going to start to utilize techniques like meditation or self-awareness practices, or just finding the time to do one thing a day that brings me some type of enjoyment, whether that's building in time to go for a walk by myself, or finding the time to reconnect with a hobby that you maybe have long since pushed to the side. Like, I'm going to start writing a little bit again every day, or I'm going to take out my paint set that I haven't utilized in 15 years and start to just doodle with it. These are the ways that we start to tap back into our connection to self. And that's where our connection to the greater collective experience starts. It starts with connecting to ourself again as a unique individual. And then from there, once we have a healthy connection to ourself and awareness of self, we can then go out into the external environment and connect that unique self with our external environment so we can start to understand where we fit in. And that's really where then we start the adventure to find meaning for ourselves. So I hope this has been illuminating and informative. And your video will start right now. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, all my lovely Capricorns, and welcome to your Working with Your Gifts reading. So this reading is meant to take a look at the energy you're sitting with surrounding your innate gifts of being born under the sign of Capricorn in one of your 3 major house placements. Now, when we're talking about self-awareness and starting to uncover our unique gifts, our singular spiritual gifts that we are meant to live into our external environment, this is a starting place. This is like getting that corner piece in the puzzle to see, okay, I have these larger overarching gifts and a place to fill within the greater collective human experience. But then what, as an individual, as I'm starting to fill and flesh out this place, what do I get to bring to it? What do I get to bring to it that makes me feel emotionally fulfilled and allows me to have meaning? So, Capricorn, as I'm shuffling the cards to get you guys a spirit animal oracle card, I'm going to talk a little bit about your gifts. So Capricorn, you are the cardinal earth sign, meaning that you guys have this beautiful ability to not only lead by example, but to really harness the power of working with our tangible environment and being able to show others that through hard work, you can manifest anything for yourself in this world. So you guys have this beautiful ability to set your eyes on a goal and take the tangible steps towards it to make it happen. Which is, you know, you guys, each sign actually has a motto around it, and your sign is I use. Meaning that you have the ability to tap into pretty much everything that's around you in the physical world as a resource. You're able to use, you know, this and that and whatever, but you're also able to step into that cardinal energy, which is leadership energy, to be able to actually utilize other people as well to help you work towards your goal. And that alone is a gift in and of itself. But when we're looking at the greater collective experience, where does cardinal earth energy fit in? Well, you guys are meant to be the builders. You guys are meant to really show others and lead by example as to what hard work actually looks like. but also to help show that the importance of taking action in a steady way that is directed towards achieving something physically. So if you are, let's say you set your eyes on, I'm going to save money to buy a home. Well, you guys are the ones then that would go to the bank, set up open a savings account. You might ask for more hours at work. You might get a second job. You might work with a significant other in your life where you guys then make a plan to start saving together. You create the calendar where you say, okay, by this point, we should be here. And if not, then this is the next tangible step I'm going to take towards achieving my goal. And so you really show you guys actually make excellent life coaches because you have this ability to give people a roadmap. And I think that's really what is needed right now in our collective experience. But that's basically, with you being born under the sign of Capricorn, that's kind of the initial role that you fill when you look at yourself in comparison to everybody else. Because not everybody has Capricorn in their chart in one of the 3 major placements. And, everybody will have one of the zodiac signs in some aspect of their birth chart. But you guys are really meant to step into and harness these energies more so than other signs. So something to keep in mind to kind of understand that that's really your superpower. So your very first and easily accessible superpower is that of manifesting in the tangible environment. That of being able to understand how to utilize what's in your environment to achieve your goal. Now, the downside or the dark side, because we all have our dark sides, is that when you think about the motto, I use, that can also be turned on the other way, where you end up using people in your life to achieve what you want for yourself. And it's not a collective work effort. It's instead you leaning on others and using them to get what you want. So something to keep in mind, that there's always this balance of you should be leading by example to fulfill the best version, the best qualities of your superpowers, instead of turning to the dark side, so to speak, and utilizing them for your gain, but to the detriment of others. Because our innate abilities are here to be of service. And being of service is ultimately what makes us feel emotionally fulfilled and allows us to see our meaning. Using other people may bring a surface level kind of instant gratification, but generally underneath, we are spiritually depriving ourselves of feeling that emotional connection. It's kind of, it's almost like the devil card in the tarot, which is everything seeming great, but in reality, we're actually, chaining ourselves to a negative experience, not even realizing it. So you have brown bear spirit. Take time out. And it's number 9. Oh, an interesting number. So number 9 is a culmination number. It's a number that I see that lines up as well with the Magician card in the tarot, not because that card is the number 9, but just because I look at what that card represents. So as I'm thinking about the Magician card, there's this element that he very much is like you, Capricorn. He has all of the elements on a table in front of him, and he has the ability to use them and combine them in any way to basically manifest what he wants for himself. The number 9 is like that. The number 9 is the wrap up of a cycle. So cycles come in 10s. And the number 9 is that last phase before you get to 10, which 10 really then reduces to the number 1. So it's kind of the start and the ending at the same time, where 9 is the last step in that cycle. So the number 9 harnesses all the lessons learned. And now your ability to tap into all those lessons learned in this cycle and be able to apply them. So similar to the Magician. So when I see here, it says Brown Bear Spirit, take time out. I think what this is asking you, and Capricorn, you guys, because you are the kind of the workers of the tarot, you are the ones that are the builders. You are the ones that are always working towards a goal. That sometimes when we do that too much, we get burned out and we end up becoming disconnected from our goals. Or we don't realize that we've actually taken on the goals of others or taken on the work of others. And I think you guys, just from seeing this card and what I'm picking up intuitively, is that you guys are at the end of a cycle. You're at the end of a cycle where it's time for a moment of reflection. It's time for a moment of self and situational, evaluation. And in order for you to be at your best as we move forward as a collective human group. So when you think about it, we've all just gone through a pandemic. The whole world is trying to figure out how to move forward through this great time of change and disruption we've just gone through. And you, as a Capricorn, are really needed now to fulfill that role of builder, to fulfill that role of, okay, whatever aspect ties specifically to you as an individual, that you have this beautiful ability to keep your eye on the prize and kind of pick up the plowshare, so to speak, and move forward in a tangible way to help others do the same. But I think what you guys are sitting with now is this culmination energy of, okay, we've all gone through something in the tangible environment that has shaken up many of our actual physical environments. Now it's time for you to take a break so that you can, again, reflect on your goals, reflect on what you've manifested for yourself as far as what you've been working towards in your current environment, and to really take a look at, is this for me or is this for somebody else? Am I emotionally connected to this? Do I feel good about it? Again, is this my goal or is this somebody else's? And to really tap into if there's anything out there that is not yours and you are giving away your beautiful energy of being able to take, all the steps needed to manifest something. It's time for you to bring it back, and it's time for you to start preparing yourself for the first step in your next cycle. Because this is where you're going to be asked to build with spirit towards something that is directly connected with you. All right, so I'm going to pull some tarot cards just to get some additional messages to see if anything else wants to come out here. So let's see. Clarifying cards for Brown Spirit, take time out. Capricorns, I have some Capricorns in my life, and I think you guys, I have so much respect for you because you're such hard workers. And you have this, my mom's actually a Capricorn. And you have this ability, and I always say, my mom is one of those people who can literally, she puts her eye on the prize and darn if she's not going to achieve it. But sometimes that can be exhausting. Sometimes me even just thinking about my mom's day can be exhausting to me, thinking about all that she's done. So bring that back to yourself. Bring that element of self-mothering back to yourself, that you don't have to do it all. You can rest at times, and Spirit's asking you to do so right now so that you can come back stronger. And when you think of superheroes, there's always that point in the movie where they've overextended themselves, where their superpowers are being drained or taxed or being used by somebody else and they don't even realize it. And this is where I think you guys are being asked to stop, to take a break, to become aware of that. Become aware of where somebody else might be using you, or just where your natural innate gifts are being depleted, so that you can then come back full steam ahead, fully in your power. Okay, so one card came out right off the bat, which is the King of Wands. And then we have 3 cards that came out together, which are the Two of Swords, the Lovers, and the Page of Pentacles. So this is probably going to be a very specific message for just some of you, just because of the way this came out. So the King of Wands. The King of Wands is kind of, to me, the CEO energy. This is the energy of someone who leads from a place of passion, is well aware of what lights their fire, and continues to act from that place. So when you think of some very famous people, especially CEOs or people who own their own businesses or who are wildly successful in specific industries, people like Oprah Winfrey, people like Steve Jobs, people even like Donald Trump. I know it's such a hot button issue, but people like that, they are fully in touch with what lights their fire. And they act from that place. Now, sometimes people can sit there and look at them and go, oh my God, they're too much. They're too much. But in reality, they build kingdoms. And they build a kingdom based off of their passion, their vision, what they feel they want to, act from, what makes them feel good. And then when I look at this, I see someone who knows a decision they have to make and is trying not to make it, with regards to either following a passion or releasing a relationship. Because the Lovers can be either. The Lovers can indicate a significant relationship, or the Lovers can represent a choice to follow something that your heart has decided on. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is about basically it can be a card of actually new learning, going out and trying to gather more information. So this could be a card of going back to school, a card of starting fresh in the tangible world. This actually could be starting at a lower point in a new job, and just kind of getting your feet wet and learning through experience. It's also a card that can denote almost like an innocent reset of going back to working with the tangible world, working with a new opportunity, and kind of getting your hands dirty with it. This is like somebody going out with they got a bucket of seeds and they're like, ooh, what can I plant? Like, what can I do with these? I'm going to go get information. I'm going to go ask this person who knows about seed, like this type of seed, or I'm going to ask them what type of seed this is, and all, and get all the information needed to start to understand what to do with these seeds. So combined with these three cards, there's something here about you feel like you don't know the decision to go, like, should I or shouldn't I? You're stuck in your head. And in reality, this is an illusion. This is an illusion that we don't know our own truth, that there are two paths, there are two decisions that somehow have equal value. And in reality, you've already made a decision. Your heart has already decided as to what that decision is. You already know you can even tap in to feel on an emotional level in your body what that decision is. And there's this element of wanting to kind of go out and start something new. So this can be, from what I'm seeing here, with this separate from this, I have a feeling that there's this element of something within yourself that you can be this King of Wands. That you can, and this is kind of a hard thing for me to get across to you guys, but when I'm looking at these, there is this element of, oh, hold on just a minute. Sorry guys, you have some house guests, you might hear them downstairs. But to finish this real fast, there's this element of you are kind of being asked to step up into this role. And you have the ability, Capricorn, to actually step up, even though this denotes kind of fire energy. This denotes that CEO energy of stepping up and taking action from this place of understanding who you are. And having the courage to make the choice to walk away from something. And I think that that's why you're being asked to take a break. To be able to really tap into this decision that you're sitting with, that you know you have to make, but you're pretending that you don't quite know what to do. And once you figure this out, then you can go and make this fresh start. You can start the cycle at number 1. So Capricorn, I know this is going to be, I feel it now all of a sudden, this like little bit of a turn. And again, I think this is why you need to take that break. There is this element of, you have to walk away from something because your heart's already chosen. Whether this is a relationship, whether this is a job, whether this is even just a goal you've been working towards and you realize now it's not yours. I don't want to live in this house anymore. I don't want to. You fill in the blanks. And it's time for you to get back into that beginner's mindset. And that's what it's going to take. You know that if you make this decision that your heart has already decided on, it's going to take you back kind of to square one. It's going to take you back to this beginner's level. But that's what you're being asked to do, because ultimately that's what's going to lead you into this energy that I think you are trying to avoid. You want to be this, but you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back by putting energy towards somebody else's vision when your heart has already chosen to move on. So if you want to step into this energy, you have to be that energy. You have to start acting towards what you want, not what you think other people want. Not what you think is what's going to get you X, Y, and Z. It's about tapping into, you have the ability to manifest anything that you want in the tangible world. But in order for you to become the King of Wands and to feel emotional connection to it, you have to step up into what the King of Wands does, which is he takes action and decisive action for himself based on his own passions. So if you're at a job that you're not passionate about, it doesn't matter how many rungs up the ladder you go. If your heart's not in it, you're never going to be that King of Wands. You're never going to feel like this, because you'll be capped off from feeling that emotional tie. So this is kind of that really interesting place to really step back and take stock and understand, if you want to be the CEO, which you can be, of your own life, you have to make that hard decision. And you have to be willing to kind of start a few steps back. And that's okay. It's actually what you're being asked to do, because you're starting a new cycle. And it's beautiful to know that your heart has decided that you guys actually have the ability to tap into a passion. That's sometimes the harder aspect of somebody's new start and journey, is that they don't know what lights their fire. They don't have any idea. And I think you do. I think you know what needs to be done to free you to be able to step up into this King of Wands energy. And that's ultimately what's going to start your new cycle and allow you to step up into utilizing your full gifts of manifestation for yourself. Of going from this, which might seem a little scary, because it's a little bit of that beginner's mindset of having to learn new, but that's what you're great at. And whatever new start you're being asked to, so starting again at the beginning of a cycle, whatever you're being asked to go out and learn more about, well, this is going to be helpful to not only yourself, but to the greater collective experience. All right, Capricorn, I hope this was helpful. I hope I get to see you at the next Working with Your Gifts reading, where we'll take a look at your energy again and kind of see your progression. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session or a personal reading, the link to my website is in the description box below. Bye, Capricorn.